Mikayla, first of all, you missed out on the semi-final against Collingwood. I believe with some bruising around the knee.
Yep.
How's that pulled up over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, good. Much better than that day. But now just keeping it compressed, ice, all the usual, so I'll be right to go come Sunday.
Sean, you've had the luxury of the week off. What have you been up to on the training track?
We've kept things pretty normal. Obviously, we had the awards night on the Monday, so that was a rehab night post that game. And but from then on, our schedule's been pretty much the same. Just building up to this week. We had a great session last night, and looking forward to another one tomorrow night, and that'll wind things up.
Penny, for Brianna Davey, her first game back for a few weeks on the weekend after having that head clash against Carlton. How did you assess her performance?
30 disposals, probably the most influential player on the ground besides Jamie Lambert. The way that she comes in and just controls that midfield group is unbelievable. Her leadership skills and the way that she brings everybody in. She's the number one reason why we drafted all those players just for her.
Obviously coming in, sorry, just behind you. Obviously coming in, Collingwood obviously coming in off a loss to the Bulldogs a few weeks ago, but then a good win on the weekend, getting that consistency, playing a few games in a row. How does that feel coming in back against the Bulldogs this week?
Yeah, one of our main things was to play as many games as possible, giving our VFL girls the opportunity to showcase what they have in front of the drafting. Bulldogs play a great brand of footy, and we're really excited, and the biggest thing and the changes we made over the past couple of weeks is to make sure that we really focus on our game and what we want to try and achieve, and hopefully we play our game a little bit longer than they play their game and see the best team win.
Question for both the coaches. One of the difficulties with VFLW is juggling your AFLW players. How have you gone about it this year?
Well, with a lot of Tetris. We sort of have to wait for the medical crew to clear the AFLW players, and then the coaching staff for Steve, Jess Berger, our list manager, and Tess McManus, our operations manager, just sort of put who we sort of want to play, but also who are the girls in terms of experience need a little bit more game time, in terms of match fitness as well, and then from there work out the VFL players around the AFL girls.
Yeah, we're a similar boat. We had a bit of a plan early in the year post the AFLW season, and girls coming back who needed their break and who might get a few games in later in the season. A few of those have tipped out again, ready to go for their pre-season again. So we've had a similar balance. Some of our first and second year players getting a bit more footy in them through the VFLW season. So that's all balanced out now, but we've had basically everybody on our list has now played, which is exciting. So to give as many of our girls some exposure at the level as we could has been the plan, and it's been a great season so far.
Sean, on that, how pleasing has it been to get through the finals campaign without having to rely on some of your elite six, such as Ali Blackburn, Lauren Spark, Isabel Huntington, Deanna Berry, Hannah Scott, Bonnie Toogood?
Look, really pleasing, and we've spoken about this internally, just the gap between our AFL girls and our VFL girls and the gap closing, which has been really pleasing, and that's our role. That's my role, to develop these girls for the draft. You know, if they end up in a Bulldogs jumper, fantastic. If they don't, if they're on an AFLW list next year, that's ultimately where we want to get those girls to. So that development is probably where our improvements come from, especially from that midpoint of the year. We had a bit of a lull, we had a lot of injuries, we were down to our bare 22, 23. So to come through that period and see these girls develop with a lot of footy because they needed to play, they've kept their spots, so they deserve the reward for it, and to make this week is testament to that.
And for both coaches, talking about those top six or top however many players, what about the younger players, the NAB League players coming in? How do you think that the NAB League this year has really helped bring in some of those players, those young ones?
It's a great question, and you know, we see the young talent coming through, and it's just going to get better and better. And you know, we've had Gemma LaJoya, Nick Zenos, Alana Porter come through the Oakley Chargers system. I've been watching their games, you know, the NAB League games, and sort of finding out what they bring, finding out where their flaws are, and then when they come into our system, being able to close that gap in terms of what we need them to play. And yeah, those kids are just unbelievable. And the best thing about it is they go in and they don't really have much knowledge of some of the players around, but when they get in there, just like, wow, this is such a cool environment, this is where I want to be. And they put some of our VFL girls, they test them, and that's what we want. We want to be able to test the girls, because if they're pushing each other, the level's just going to get better and better.
Hey, Grace, talking about those younger players, Gemma Lagoya has been outstanding every game that she played for Collingwood, but Nicola Zenos taking the step up in that preliminary final, including a great goal in heavy traffic as well.
Absolutely, and like Penny said, if anything, those girls coming into our team is just pushing us even more. So that's making us work more for our positions. That's building our intensity. And every time they go for the ball, they go in hard and they go in with intent. And that's something, you definitely cannot question with them. They've got that intent. They've got that want to get the ball and to better themselves individually and as a team. And they've gelled really well culturally as well with all the girls, AFL, VFL. They've absolutely blossomed in terms of just opening up and making friends with everyone around them. So it's been great to see.
One for the captains, pretty special feeling to captain your side into a grand final. What's this week been like? Let's start with you, Mikayla.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We've got a great leadership group at the Bulldogs with Taylor Danuccio and Ashley Gunn supporting myself. But we've also had a great team environment that I haven't really had to do too much leading with. I don't feel so anyway. But it's pretty special. Like, we didn't know what the expectation was. There wasn't really much on the Bulldogs this season, so we were aiming for finals, and now coming into this weekend, it's just a bonus, and we'll put everything out on the table.
Yeah, and same goes with us. There's just so much excitement at the club. So obviously the AFL men's being in the finals this weekend, us being in the grand final, just being at the Holden Centre, the vibes are incredible. Unfortunately, our finals campaign last year didn't go to show our efforts throughout the season. So the fact that we've gone one step further this year already, and we've sort of stepped it up in terms of our ability and trainings and intent, has just been really, really awesome. And like Mikayla said, I've got awesome support around me. So all the other leaders, Penny the coach, the Lions coaches, the staff at Collingwood, the trainers, physios, we're all one club, we're one family, so everyone has put in to get us to this level. And it's credit to everyone that's put the hard yards in.
Penny, second year at the Pies in the VFLW. Have you seen much difference between the playing standard year on year?
Oh, 100%. And I think my first season I was very young, very new to coaching. I've just finished my AFLW career, if you want to call it that. And then stepping into the limelight of being a coach, it's a completely different viewpoint. And I think the maturity of the group has really improved. Having that finals campaign last year, I think, has really driven the girls this year to take it a couple of steps further. And I think it's more so the AFL younger girls stepping up too, getting more games into those girls, especially after a disappointing AFLW season, for them to step up again into the VFL program and really put on show what they have to offer, for especially Steve coming in, the new coach, has really driven our group as a whole collective to make sure that we are working towards an AFL season, but making sure we know what it's like to be successful in a VFL program, so they can then bring that into the following year in AFLW.
And speaking broadly, where do you think that improvements come from across the league? Is it improved fitness, like better game sense, tighter cohesion? Any ideas?
I think it's got a lot to do with understanding that for our product, the women's football, to be the standard it needs to be, we need to put a little bit more investment in. That's from the grassroots upwards. So investing in our staff, investing in our players, investing in our coaches, in terms of internally and externally, just making sure that we're doing everything. I can only speak on Collingwood's behalf of what we're trying to do to improve the women's sport. Having the netball crew and bringing in Jane Woodland-Thompson has been great for our program. And then also the girls internally wanting to get better. See them a lot more around the club than they probably were last year. And the fact that I think that they know that we're on the brink of something that's really special in terms of what we can contribute to the wider community in terms of bringing in women's sport and what that means to everybody. I'm a big advocate for women's sport, been pushing women's football for a long time, so I'm loving the journey, and it's only going to get better. And the fact that we've got these NAB League girls coming through and the next generation of players is just, it's just going to be exciting to watch, and I'm glad that we're involved in it.
I'll ask a question to both coaches on your international players. First of all, Sean, I'll begin with you. For Danielle Marshall from the United States Australian Football League's Arizona Hawks, she's been thrown around everywhere during the finals campaign. We saw that during Richmond, the elimination final, kicked the first goal of the game, and the game-saving mark in the goal square, 20 seconds to go. Is that being thrown around everywhere more just for her development for AFLW, or do you see it as a genuine utility?
Look, she's got that incredible game sense for someone who hasn't played a lot of footy, obviously through her youth, and coming over and stepping up to this level really shows. Well, she just knows how to read the game. And we thought, we'll give this a try, and we did it cyclonic conditions against Darebin in the last round. It was blowing a gale. We thought, we'll give this a try and see how it works. And she just read the ball so beautifully well. So we've used that a little bit. She's predominantly a forward, which is one of our leading goal kickers, along with the skipper. So, look, she's a genuine talent. And when she came to training one night, pretty much unannounced on my side of things, I thought, wow, we might have something here. And yeah, she played soon after, and the rest is an incredible story. So we're really looking forward to her continued development and what she produces in the AFL season as well.
And Patty, for your international star, being out of the cross-coders program, Aisling Curley, and the exciting speed and pressure that she brings to the game.
Yeah, so Curley has had a interrupted season in terms of a few injuries here and there. Her biggest hurdle is getting herself right. And when she's right, the speed that she brings, the dash on the outside, is a really credit to her. And she was just talking the other day to me about, I was like, Curly, so have you played in front of, many people before? She's like, oh yeah, when I was playing Gaelic, I played in front of 35,000 people. Okay. And she's like, oh, it didn't mean anything to me, but I get nervous playing in front of a couple of hundred. So I think for her, it's just getting herself right. She's been fantastic around the group. She's a very determined person, and she wants to get drafted. And I think that drives her and the group to make sure that we can do whatever we can to showcase, the skills, the athleticism, the finesse, the composure in the pressure situations that finals bring. And yeah, she's the type of player that can break open a game.
Mikayla, talking about some of the youngsters coming through for the Western Bulldogs, and I know many from an AFLW perspective excited about the early draft picks that the Bulldogs will have. Can you talk us through, I guess, those that are auditioning for that spot, including the likes of Elizabeth Georgia-Stathis, Sophie Molan and Ella Wood, who both transitioned to the side beautifully during this finals campaign?
Yeah, all three of those girls have been incredible for us, only obviously playing the back half of the season with us. I was talking to Lizzie G's dad last night, actually. She hasn't lost a game with us yet, so hopefully she's available this week. That'd be nice. But, what they do is they play with confidence. Coming through a junior development where some of our VFL women's players haven't had that experience, they just are able to get out there and know exactly what their role is and go and do it. Whether it's their junior development or just youth these days being pretty confident in themselves. But they really are a testament to the hard work that they've had over this year, but also in their previous years. And if all three are playing this weekend, they'll be providing something special for us.
For Sean, you've gone on, I think you lost to the Saints, and then you've gone on and you've won 6 in a row since then. A few easier ones early on and then the last couple tougher. Has the week off been important to refresh, or would you have rather gone straight into a grand final after you win in the final?
Well, I'd probably answer that question a bit better after the game on the weekend, if it was a positive or a negative. But look, I think everybody needs the rest. As Mikayla was saying, we've had quite a few of the younger girls play a solid block of footy, and it's certainly finals footy is a whole different ball game compared to the home and away series. But look, I think the rest has been good. We had a really good hard hit out last night, obviously not playing on the weekend, so time will tell, but it will come in fully fresh and ready to roll.
Sean, with Paul Groves stepping down, there's a vacancy at AFLW level. Is that something you consider putting your hand up for?
Oh, look, I'm probably not quite in the picture there at the moment, being a full-time teacher and a full-time parent as well. So, look, my role is very, very clear in the VFL program, and really enjoy that development space as well. So that's where my skill set lies, and hopefully we'll go around again next year, but we'll wait and see. But most certainly we're looking forward to whoever fills that role, and we'll jump on board with whoever it is and back them to the hilt.
Hey Grace, let's talk about the influence and growth of Shani Layton in your side. Has been outstanding through the VFLW games that she played. Chloe Malloy admitted that the strength that Shani brings to the game, she said, I just love footy. That's just Shani Layton. She loves the game and always smiling. What influence does she bring behind the scenes, being an elite athlete and a former Australian diamond netballer?
Yep, so with Shani Layton, her attitude, her commitment, her drive is infectious. So everyone around her, she brings up. And she's such an incredible person, incredible netballer, but most importantly, just a really lovely person off the field. Anytime someone's down or we're panicking a game, she's always there to settle them down, to lift everyone up around her, and she's just got that nature that she's got the voice, she's got the leadership. We all look after her as well. You can all hear her on the field, so or from the bench as well. And the main thing is, she loves the game, so she wants to be there, and anyone that wants to be there just lifts us even higher. And she's just such a massive asset, not only to Collingwood, but to our VFL program, to our AFL program, and her development this year has just been unreal. Her kicking, her ruck, her marks, she's a very confident player. She goes in hard, and I can't wait to see her blossom even more going into AFL 2020.
Let's focus on the opponents for a moment. Sean, Collingwood have one Jamie Lambert, Rowena Young medalist, 27 goals, a bit like a gopher in Caddyshack, pops up out of nowhere. How do you try and control the influence of someone like that?
Oh, look, she's a fantastic footballer, and we've just got to really control and try and influence the supply when she's deep forward. It's simple as that. She's a quality enough player. She's going to find the footy, but it's how it gets there. So that's how we can try and influence things. Good players find the footy, but it's their influence when they have it. So that's our hope, and we'll set that as a target for our girls. And that's not only from our backs, that's obviously emphasising through our midfields and the way it comes out of our forward line as well.
And for yourself, Benny, trying to combat the Western Bulldogs, I think they had less inside 50s than you in that game in the semi-final, but they don't have a key forward structure, but they're very good with their use of the ball inside 50. How do you combat that, about how to try and zone up or who to man up against?
Seems like we've got pretty similar game plans. It's stopping it at the source. Trying to defend the whole ground, not just their back half. We know they've got a couple of speedsters out the back, so it's just making sure the ball doesn't get down there. That's the biggest thing. And it's one of those games where whichever team can play their brand of footy the longest, which team can play 4 quarters, who doesn't have the lapse of concentration throughout the game. And it's been a long season for all of the girls, the staff, the coaches, and it's one more week, it's one more game, but this is the most important game of the season.
And for yourself personally, Penny, you've been through quite a journey, as we know, from going right back to the VCAT, hearing to try and get the opportunity to play football. Just 5 years ago, a warm down at the St Kilda Sharks was a can of Jim Beam at Peanut Farm Reserve after the game. 5 years later, here you are coaching for the second year the Collingwood VFLW team. What does this mean to you personally if on Sunday afternoon you're holding up that Premiership Cup?
Well, hopefully another can would be great after the season that we've had. No, I think, I've had a question to myself a few times about the reflection that I get to have about my journey in terms of back when I was 15, what that all meant, and to see now, I always dreamt of coaching Collingwood, to be the first female coach of Collingwood, and to hold a Premiership Cup would... it's one of those things that you can't really put into words. Firstly, I thought it was a dream to play for Collingwood, putting on the black and white stripes, wearing the number 3 out on this deck here was my first ever game, and then now to potentially hold the silverware is, I like to achieve things, and when I achieve it, I want more. So if the cards play in our favour on the weekend, it'd be nothing more than special to hold this cup up with Grace and the hard work that Grace has put in for the last 2 years of this program. We've worked really hard together to build this group to what it is, and it'd just be a great reward for all the work that we've done.
And Sean, for you, it'd be probably a pretty high bar to beat if you were to take home the Premiership Cup in your debut season as coach.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be a nice bar to set, though.
Yeah.
So, as Penny said, it's the goal. You want to see the development, but if you get the rewards of having the opportunity to play off, and everybody else is on holidays and we're still at work. So, yeah, look, if things go our way, it's a huge honour. But if they don't, we're incredibly proud of our whole organisation and the direction it's going. And it's not about the short-term vision; it's about the long-term vision. So we're really excited by where the footy club's at. But we'll give it a good shot.
Thanks, everyone.